how would cost segregation benefit in a hotel user? And how does it benefit different asset classes? Like, for example, like, does it benefit? How does it benefit multifamily? How does it benefit retail, commercial? How does it benefit hotels? How does it benefit different types of real estate?
So it's going to be beneficial to anyone that is investing in commercial real estate. And there are, like I mentioned before, since each property is different and the engineer is coming to identify in each property how much personal property, quote unquote, personal property is in there, there are certain, like you mentioned, certain types of assets that will have more of those than others. And some of them are more on the personal property, that 5-year asset class, and some of them are on the land improvements, the 15-year asset class, which also gets accelerated and is also eligible for bonus depreciation. So generally speaking, multifamily properties will produce between 20 and 30% of reallocation, which means we're taking the purchase price. We have to subtract a certain amount for land because land does not depreciate. So whatever that is, whether it's 10%, 15, 20%, there's a certain amount doesn't depreciate. But whatever is left over, 20 to 30% of that can be reallocated. Hotels are usually also around that amount, sometimes a little more, because there's a lot of furniture. Okay, we think about all of the furniture that's in hotels, all the fixtures, the curtains, you know, every single room, all those stuff is eligible for 5-year treatment. Retail, a lot of times will have, especially shopping malls and things like that, have a lot as well. But also benefits because they're going to have a lot more of the land improvements, the huge parking lots. Think about that all of that concrete, all of the, you know, the light posts in the shopping centers, all of the signage, all of that is 15-year property, which means you can depreciate that faster. There are a couple types of properties that have, a few types that have significant amount more than others, and there are some that have much, much less. So like think about like a warehouse. You know, you buy the property, but there's not much there. Okay, you're not, you know, maybe there's some shelving, maybe there's some lighting, certain types of plumbing, but it's very little, usually around 5 to 10% of that reallocation. Whereas assisted living or senior living, where you're having a lot of equipment in every room, a lot of, you know, special beds, special equipment, all of that has value to it and a lot of value. So assisted living could be, you know, upwards of 30, 40% of that 5-year property. Mobile home parks, okay, and golf courses are two specific asset classes that have more than any other type because they are almost entirely land improvements. Now you think about it, you just own the land, right? You own the mobile home park. You don't even own any homes. Let's say they're all tenant-owned homes. You actually own the land, but you own what's on the land. The concrete pads that are under each home, all of the roads that are connecting those homes, the landscaping that's involved there, the fencing, all of that, that's really what you own. And all of that is 15-year land improvement, which means you can literally take, on mobile home parks, listen to this, between 50 and 80% of reallocation to land improvements, which means that all of that is eligible for bonus depreciation.
So we have a question from a good friend, Paul Shao. He's asking, does cost segregation deduction have to be added back on the sale of the property as well, too?
Yeah, so when you sell a property, you have depreciation recapture tax, which means that you're now going to be taxed on the amount of depreciation that you took during the ownership of your property. Now, the main benefit of cost segregation is the time value of money, okay? If you are... It's your, first of all, this is something that Tom Wheelwright, you know, speaks about in his book, Tax-Free Wealth. It's your money. We have to get out of our head, right? Yeah, we have to get out of our head that taxes are an obligation. Taxes, it's your money. It's not the government's money. So if there are ways that you can keep your money for longer, okay, that's going to be beneficial. But the time value of money is that $1 today is worth more than $1 5 years from now. Now, your personal... your taxes, your tax rate may be some, if you're a high earner, maybe upwards of 39, 40%. The depreciation recapture tax is capped at 25%, which means that the spread between the 37% or whatever and the 25% between now and then is also going to be beneficial to take that depreciation deduction now and then have to pay tax on it at sale, as opposed to paying taxes now on your own money. You get to keep your money. And like Jose said before, you can take those deductions now, use your own money to reinvest, and you're making money with your own money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Great question, Paul.
Not only that, Paul, but what I've read in books is that a lot of the strategies that seasoned investors use is they just keep exchanging their properties. So they continue to if I sell and I do a 1031 exchange, I don't get taxed on the money now, so I'm deferring taxes. So let's say that I take depreciation on this property and I take the bonus depreciation now. If I sell it 10 years from now, I exchange it. I don't pay taxes. I do it again in another 10 years. I do it again. I do it again. Once I die, the tax, I get an adjustment on the basis. The basis goes up to market value most of the time. And if my portfolio is worth less than the inheritance tax, then I just avoided the taxes throughout my entire lifetime. So there's different tax strategies to essentially answer the question about, does it happen when you sell? Now, if you're planning on selling, then obviously it's a different situation.